Hello, everyone. Ha ha ha. El-Rufai says Kano ex-governor Ganduje responsible for activist Dadiyata's abduction since 2019. Dadiyata was abducted on August 2nd, 2019. So but this year will make it, is that 7 years now? Yeah, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's 7 years. By August 2nd this year to be 7 years. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has alleged that former Kano State Governor, former National Chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, was responsible for the abduction of an activist, Abubakar Idris, popularly known as Dadiyata, since 2019. El-Rufai made the statement during an interview on Arise Prime News Prime Time on Friday, where he addressed questions regarding the activist's disappearance and clarified that Kaduna State authorities were not involved. Dadiyata was abducted, like I said earlier, August 2019, from his Kaduna residence by unidentified gunmen. The case drew attention from civil society organizations and members of the police, and police investigation were conducted at the time. His current whereabouts is nowhere to be found. And it was so, just to give a brief background on this abduction, he had gone out. I think whether he now went to go and buy, was it suya or something for his wife, and he had driven into, his house when the vehicle and this gunman came in with him, and the wife could see him from the window where he was whisked away. And since that time, nobody has seen him. There has been a lot of speculation, about him, as some have said that he's dead. Some are praying that maybe he's somewhere incarcerated and one day he's going to come up. But what did he do other than he was criticizing the wrongdoing of government? Sometimes when we say, criticizing government, it's the wrongdoing of government that was being criticized. And when the criticism becomes something that will now lead to someone being abducted, you see terrorists everywhere, killing people and all of that. The Nigerian government doesn't have capacity to go after them. But when it comes to going after citizens, they do that, more often. El-Rufai said that Dadiyata's criticism was directed at the Kano State government. Dadiyata is a critic of the Kano government. It was Ganduje that was his problem. Go and check his time. I don't even know him, according to El-Rufai. He explained that Kaduna State authorities only became aware of the activists after the family reported the abduction to the police. We only got a report of Dadiyata's existence after his family reported to the police that he was abducted. Dadiyata was living in Kaduna, and at that time, Nasir El-Rufai was the governor of Kaduna State. So that made him responsible for Dadiyata. And I know some of these are some of the things that I pointed out over the years. That look, it doesn't matter who it was, who had done it. You are supposed to be the chief security officer of Kaduna State, and someone was abducted within that Kaduna State. The least that was expected was to have seen the Kaduna State government doing everything that he could do to ensure that this man was found. I don't think El-Rufai, I don't think he ever visited his families or anything or whatever. And then if you knew all of this, that Ganduje was responsible, why didn't you say it at that time? Why is it now so convenient for this to be said 7 years after? He explained that Kaduna State authorities only became aware of the activists after the family reported the abduction to the police. We only got a report of Dadiyata's existence after his family reported to the police that he was abducted. El-Rufai also referred to police officers' alleged confession regarding the abduction. 3 days after Dadiyata's abduction, a policeman posted from Kano to Ekiti confessed to someone that they were sent from Kano and abducted Dadiyata and felt bad about it. But 3 days, this is 7 years ago, 3 days after that abduction, and as a state governor, you couldn't stand for this person who is your responsibility, whom you owe a duty of care. You left him. It is now because there are certain issues between you and your former party and colleagues that we are revealing that. That's so somehow, really. That's so somehow. He reiterated that Kaduna State had no role in the incident. That's the only thing I know, but it was not a problem for Kaduna State. It was actually a problem for Kaduna State because Dadiyata, at the time that he was abducted, lived in Kaduna, was a resident of Kaduna, a staff of Kaduna, paid taxes in Kaduna, and was even abducted in Kaduna. It's even a different thing if he said, okay, he was abducted in Kano, or he was abducted in another state, then the Kaduna State government might be able to say it really wasn't their problem because he was not abducted in Kaduna, but he was abducted in his residence in Kaduna. Human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, have previously called for investigation into the case. More than 6 years later, no official findings have been made public. And this is just a whole lot of things, that are so wrong with Nigeria. And I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is that this power is so transient. 8 years is just like tomorrow if there's life. It's for the person whom there is no life that it then becomes, forever. And I think a lot of people do forget that when they are within the hands of power, they think they are untouchable. They think they can do whatever it is. And then the saddest part of it all is that the people who are currently in power do not see all of these things to learn from it and say, hey, tomorrow it could be our turn, where whatever atrocities that we commit today will then be committed against us tomorrow, and we have to face it. Before I leave you, just take a look at this place where El-Rufai was explaining about the Dadiyata case. Thank you so much for watching.
That's what we do. We arraign people before a court of law.
Right. Well, what about the still unresolved case involving one of your very fierce critics, a man known as Abubakar Idris Dadiyata, a lecturer and a social media commentator? He was, to use your word, abducted from his Kaduna home in 2019 by unknown gunmen and has remained missing to this day, nearly 7 years later. Amnesty International considers the case to be one of enforced disappearance, and many fingers point towards your government, which was in power in Kaduna State at the time. Are they right for their fingers to be pointed in the direction of your government? Because his protection is the duty of your government.
Charles, they are totally wrong, and what you have been given is not the correct thing. Dadiyata's timeline is still around. Go and study it. Dadiyata was not a fierce critic of Kaduna State government. He was a fierce critic of Kano State government. He's from Kano. He's a Konkosia guy. He lives in Kaduna and lectures at a university in Katsina State. He lives in Kaduna. But he's a fierce critic, not of Kaduna State. Go and review his timeline. Okay? It was Ganduje that was his problem.
But he was living in your state.
He was living in my state. But
so technically he is your...
No, of course.
He falls under your province.
Yes, but I didn't even know him. We only got the report of Dadiyata's existence.
Right.
Okay? And the fact that he lived in Kaduna State after his family reported to the police that he was abducted as he was returning home in the evening. And when we investigated, all that we could gather from his family was that the abductors came, took him, and they came from Kano. So if anybody is to be asked questions about the disappearance of Dadiyata, it's the Kano State government. It has nothing to do with Kaduna State government. We didn't even know he existed. And Charles, trust me, he was not a fierce critic. I didn't even know he existed until he was abducted. But till today, some people on social media ask me the question. I don't care. 3 years after Dadiyata was abducted, a policeman that was posted out of Kano to Ekiti State confessed to someone that they were sent from Kano and they took the guy, they abducted Dadiyata, and he felt bad about it. That's the only thing I know. But it was not a Kaduna State problem. He lived in Kaduna State, and it was our duty to protect him. But how could we protect him when we didn't even know he existed or was a particular critic of Ganduje?
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on from there.